they be looking out for me, but they be gang, so like the one set want me to be down with them, and the Blackstone want me to be with them, and he be with them, but yeah, I had to run in with them in Milwaukee, because that was when that little kid died, Yummy Sandifer.
On a bright September afternoon in 1994, the mothers of Chicago's South Side brought their children to a vigil for a dead boy they had never met. They wanted their kids to see the scrawny corpse, in the loose tan suit lying in a coffin, next to his stuffed animals, finally harmless. The only picture the family could find for the funeral program, was a mugshot. "Take a good look," said Reverend Willie James Campbell. "Cry if you will, but make up your mind that, you will never let your life end like this." Robert Sandifer's life began on March 12, 1983. His nickname, Yummy, came from his love of cookies and other sweets. Yummy's mother, Lorena, was the third of 10 children from 4 fathers. Lorena never met her father. When she was 15, she had her first son, Lorenzo, then Victor, then Yummy, and eventually several more children. She dropped out of the 10th grade, found an apartment, went on welfare and nursed a crack habit. For a while she tried living with Yummy's father, Robert Akins, who was convicted of drug and weapons charges, when Yummy was just a toddler. They soon split because he had a rather angry and hot temper, she told a social worker. Apparently, Lorena also had a rather angry and hot temper. The first charge of child neglect was filed in 1984, when Lorena failed to follow doctor's orders for treating 2-year-old Victor's eye condition. He eventually went blind. The following year, 22-month-old Yummy arrived at Jackson Park Hospital covered with scratches and bruises. A few months later, it was his sister, this time with 2nd and 3rd-degree burns on her genitals. Lorena explained that the toddler had fallen on the radiator. An emergency room nurse told the court that the injuries did not quite match the story. Someone probably held the child on the heater, the nurse testified. The courts finally moved in a year later, when neighbors told police that the children were routinely being left at home, alone. By the time they removed the kids, Yummy was a bundle of anger and scars. He had long welts on his left leg. Police suspected he was beaten with an electrical cord. There were cigarette burns on his shoulders and buttocks. "I never beat my kids," Lorena insisted. She said the scars were caused by chickenpox, not cigarettes. "I gave him all the attention I could," she says of Yummy, but admits there were distractions. By the age of 29, she had been arrested 41 times, mainly for prostitution. So a lot of times, before little black boys like me or Yummy can grow up, we become walking weapons. One very mean little boy didn't grow up, so he became a symbol of everything wrong with gang life, to a rap icon named Tupac Shakur, instead. This is the story of the tragic life and death of Robert Yummy Sandifer, and the huge brawl that broke out in Milwaukee following a Tupac concert, where he threatened to kill gang members in the audience, for causing the death of an 11-year-old boy.
I went out there, they be looking out for me, but they be gang, so like the one set want me to be down with them, and the Blackstone want me to be with them, and he be with them, but yeah, I had to run in with them in Milwaukee, because that was when that little kid died, Yummy Sandifer. Yeah, I heard you said a shout out to him. Yeah, I did a show that next day, after they just killed that kid. Yeah. Because you heard what happened, right? Yeah, they executed him. Right, they executed him, but I was out there when I did the show. The gang was in the fucking audience. The whole gang had like brought out the stadium. Damn. So I'm rapping to the niggas that just killed this little kid. Oh. And they all screaming out bad life, but I felt bad. Like, wait, they got it twisted. Yeah. So I started cursing them niggas out. Like, y'all niggas cowards. Y'all niggas cowards. Y'all killed that kid. Y'all niggas is punks, man. I hate all you. I hurt all you. Them niggas start throwing shit. We heard out in the stadium. Damn. It was tough, man. The whole gang tore up the whole neighborhood. But then I started getting letters from that area where all like the mothers, the girls, right, and like, thank you for doing that, because everybody's scared of these niggas. See, that's what I want to do. That's right. I want to, if these gang niggas ain't gonna get straight, then I want to take them out the gang. That's real.
Yummy was known to Chicago police long before his murder at 11 years old. He had an arrest record dating back to January of 1992, when he was 8. Arrested for residential burglary, auto theft, armed robbery, and shoplifting. Yummy averaged a felony a month for the last year and a half of his life. 23 felonies, and 5 misdemeanors in all. He was prosecuted on 8 felonies, convicted, and twice sentenced to probation, the most punitive penalty available under state law, at the time for children under 13. Even for murder, state law barred jailing children under 13, in an Illinois Department of Corrections youth facility. So, older gang members started putting shorties, like me and Yummy, to work. At 10:30 in the morning on Sunday, August 28, 1994, Yummy left his house at 219 West 107th Place, in the Roseland neighborhood, on the south side of Chicago. He said he was off to a gas station at 111th and State Street, where local children pumped self-serve gas for customers to earn tips, before station workers would chase them away. At first glance, Yummy's bedroom resembled most other Chicago children of his age. Posters of Michael Jordan and Disney characters were tacked to the walls and ceiling. However, a closer look revealed a boy whose childhood innocence had long since vanished. Gang insignia and logos were scrawled above the door, and scribbled on the woodwork. That evening, Yummy, standing 4 feet 6 inches tall, and weighing 86 pounds, approached a group of boys standing at 10758 South Perry Avenue, near the corner of West 108th Street around 6:30 p.m. Yummy, a tattooed member from the 8-ball set of the Black Disciples gang, because they rep 108th and Perry, approached 16-year-old Keon de Britton asking him, what gang he was affiliated with. When Britton said, he wasn't in a gang, Yummy pulled out a 9mm semi-automatic pistol at nearly point-blank range. Britton ran. Yummy opened fire, striking Britton in the stomach with 1 bullet, and striking his spinal cord with another. Britton would spend the next several months in hospitals and rehabilitation clinics, unable to walk for 8 months. With the eyes of the streets watching him, the diminutive Yummy quickly scurried off. Arriving on the scene, Chicago police officer William Callahan knelt over the young victim. Who shot you? Yummy shot me, Britton responded. I think his name is Robert. He would later say, I knew it was Yummy. I saw his face before he shot me. As soon as Callahan supplied Sandifer's name as the probable suspect, other detectives were on their way back to the police station to look for a recent photo of Yummy, when they received word there had been another shooting, around the corner on 108th Street. This shooting left 14-year-old Siobhan Latrice Dean dead, a few feet from her parents' doorsteps. The national media identified Yummy as the killer, but guess what? The Hardaway brothers, Craig and Derek, the teenagers who were convicted of killing Yummy, say he didn't kill Siobhan.
Behind whatever happened, there was some consequences that he had to suffer.
So, I'm going to ask you like this here. We're talking about 2 incidents, right? For those that are informed, that happened within an hour each. When it comes to the incident on Wentworth surrounding Sammy Say, I answer that yay. The other incident, for this interview, I'm not going to answer. But I will say this. Not what's been reported, nor not what the general population has been led to believe. The rest, I won't elaborate on.
So when you say Sammy Say, just along keeping, track of exactly what we're talking about, who is Sammy Say?
So, for those that are informed, Sammy Say got shot in the West area. It was a big gang shoot. Okay. Let's put it that way. Okay. West of Wentworth, east of Wentworth. Sammy Say happened to be one of the things. The other, we're not going to collaborate on at this particular juncture.
After receiving 3 calls, earlier in the week from someone who hung up without saying anything, Janie Fields, Yummy's grandmother, bought a caller identification device. Late Wednesday afternoon, Yummy called from a payphone. "What is the police looking for me for?" he asked his grandmother. "You ain't done nothing wrong, just let me come and get you," she responded. The phone went dead. Around 7 p.m., Craig Hardaway, 16, and Derek Hardaway, 14, both brothers, members of a Black Disciples set, allied with the 8 Balls, stopped by Shantae McGlown's house. Shantae was Craig's girlfriend. Around 9 p.m., Craig received several pages, according to Shantae's court testimony. After the first page, at Craig's request, Shantae called the number on his pager and asked for Kenny. The person who answered the phone said Kenny was not there. Craig then gave Shantae a different phone number. She called and told the person who answered to tell Kenny Craig was on his way. Around 10:30 p.m., Shantae and her cousin drove the Hardaway brothers to Emma's house, at 118 West 108th Place. Walking down the street at the same time, Mike Griffin, a 14-year-old member of the Black Disciples, saw Yummy sitting on the porch of an abandoned house at 105th Street in Edbrook. Griffin stopped and talked to Yummy, who said he wanted to go home. After unsuccessfully calling a taxi from an acquaintance's house further down the street, Yummy and Griffin walked to Jimmy's Cooper's house at 10609 South Edbrook Avenue. The three gathered on the front porch where Jimmy's mother, Cassandra, confronted Sandifer, and convinced him he should go to his grandmother, and turn himself in. At 118 West 108th Place, Craig met Kenny. The two went onto a porch on the second floor where Kenny said Yummy needed to be gotten rid of, according to court hearings. Kenny handed Craig a .25 caliber, silver-plated handgun. The 11-year-old knew too much about the gang and, if caught, his cooperation could lead to the arrest of gang leaders. Kenny gave Craig keys to a late model, light-colored Oldsmobile Delta 88. They were to tell Yummy they were taking him out of town. Yummy gave his grandmother's telephone number to Cassandra Cooper. She then walked down the block to phone Fields to come pick up her grandson. Cooper reached Fields on the phone at approximately 11:30 p.m. When Cooper returned to her house, Yummy was gone. So, who is Kenny? Was he the second gunman that killed Siobhan Latrice Dean? Stay tuned to find out, but please hit that like button, and subscribe to the Cartoon News Network for more videos from us. Right now, let's hear some more from Craig Hardaway, after over 2 decades in prison, to see if he drops any more subliminal truth bombs about the night Yummy was killed.
He was already one of the members, you said. Yeah, that time.
So, when I first met Yummy, I met Yummy on 108th Street. At the time, for the Honeys, that was like one of the headquarters. I didn't really get to know Yummy until, I don't even remember what the shorty was in the hiding home for. I was fighting an attempt murder. I don't even know what the f*** he was in there for. I was on 5G. Shorty was on 4J. I remember them going to court, because we had both went to court on the same day. I remember when we got bused back to Hobby home, he was saying that they had basically dropped his charges, but he had to go to placement. Placement during that time in the juvenile justice system was sort of like being placed in DCFS, but they sent you outside the state. My charges was dropped because the witness and the victim refused to come to court. That's what I said with my charges. And I remember him like, man, bro, I ain't going to that shit. And I tell them like, man, sure, consider. That shit, man. I did it. And that was that. Shortly after that, the next day, our release, you supposed to go to placement. My mama and my goddamn baby mama come get me. We ride down Roosevelt finna hit Jewtown. Shorty bailed out to come on them people. We had Roosevelt the house. I'm telling my mama like, man, hey, make a right, I'm gonna go give me some Jordans. Then you can take me back to the hunt. As we get ready to make the right at Roosevelt and Austin, I see Short. I thought you was going to place. So let me ride with y'all. The Bel Air. Get my Jordans and we shoot back to the hunt. That was like the first time like I really kicked with the shit. Because again, the shit I was into at that time, this is 94, summer 94. We was like on two different wavelengths.
You was getting money and he was like coming up.
No, not so much as that. That I was involved in a way other shit. I was in authority at the time. He wasn't. I moved across the city. He didn't. He was confined, like strictly to the hunt.
Gang life is a fucked up life because it's kill or be killed. Who wants to live like that? Returning to our story, we have 14-year-old Black Disciple member, Mike Griffin, talking to Yummy and Cassandra Cooper's daughter, on her front porch, while Cassandra walked to a neighbor's house, to call Yummy's grandmother. While Griffin and Yummy were on the front porch, a light-colored car drove down Edbrook Avenue. According to court testimony, Griffin noticed Craig Hardaway as the driver. His younger brother, Derek, was in the passenger seat. As the Hardaways drove to the acquaintance's house, where Griffin and Yummy had tried to call a taxi, they spotted Yummy on the porch with Jimmy Cooper and Griffin. Craig told his brother Derek to go get Sandifer. Derek got out of the car and walked towards the porch where Yummy was sitting. Derek called out to Yummy, who stood up. Derek told him he was on his way out of town and Yummy needed to come along. Yummy and Griffin hopped over the porch and left. Yummy, Griffin, and Derek walked towards Indiana Avenue where Craig was waiting. Griffin asked Derek for a ride home. "We are on something, we will be too deep," Derek said according to court records. Griffin stopped in the alley, and saw Derek and Yummy walk down Indiana Avenue and get into the same car he had seen earlier. It was now about 11:45 p.m. Yummy was told to get in the back seat and lay face down. Doing as he was told, he climbed into the back seat. They drove to a viaduct at 108th and Dauphin Avenue, 9 blocks from Cooper's home. Craig, taking his younger brother aside, told Derek to get in the car, have it running, don't turn your lights on, have the car in neutral, have the passenger door open. Yummy was walked a short distance into the tunnel, tagged with gang graffiti. He got down on his knees, and was shot twice in the back of his head with a .25 caliber pistol. At 12:30 a.m., police found Yummy lying on dirt, and bits of broken glass according to newspaper reports. According to the Chicago Tribune, jurors could be seen scribbling notes as Assistant State's Attorney Angela Tisdale testified that Craig said it was accurate but he would not sign it. He had been told not to sign anything. He told me it was an accurate and correct statement of our conversation. In this statement, Craig admitted that he and Derek were members of the Black Disciple Street Gang, and that on the evening of August 31, 1994, he was summoned to the home of a high-ranking gang member, whom he identified only as Kenny. He and Kenny went onto a porch on the second floor and Kenny said Yummy needed to be gotten rid of, Tisdale said. At the time, police were searching for Sandifer as the prime suspect, in 2 separate gang-related shootings 3 days earlier, one of which involved the death of a 14-year-old innocent bystander. Kenny had a .25 caliber, silver-plated handgun and he pulled the hammer back, as he gave Craig the instructions, Tisdale testified. She went on to say that Craig recounted how Kenny gave him the keys to a car and told him to find Yummy. Craig told her that he and Derek drove to 106th Street and Edbrook Avenue, where they found Sandifer on a porch, and persuaded him to accompany them, after Derek promised he would be driven out of town to a safe location. Instead, Craig said in the statement, they drove him to the pedestrian tunnel where he accompanied Sandifer into the dark. Craig said he saw Kenny walking in the tunnel. Tisdale recounted being told by the defendant. He turned and walked away, then heard 3 shots, and he turned and saw Yummy on the ground.
Now, let's put all of the pieces to the puzzle together, to figure out who killed Yummy, and why. We know that Yummy approached a group of boys on Sunday, August 28, 1994, around 6:30 p.m., and shot Keonta Britton in the back, at nearly point-blank range because the victim told police that Yummy shot him. 2 hours later at around 8:30 p.m., Sammy Say and Siobhan Latrice Dean were shot on 108th and Wentworth. Sammy Say was one of 6 teenagers playing football outside, when Siobhan walked past the intended targets of the attack. Siobhan was the niece of a gangster disciple leader. She tragically lost her life that day. Say testified that there was more than one shooter, and that he did not see the person who shot him, but that others at the scene told him it was Yummy. According to the Hardaway brothers, there were 2 shooters, one attacked from the west side of Wentworth, the other from the east side of the street. So by Monday, August 29th, Yummy is on the run from police and rival gang members. The BDs help Yummy hide in various abandoned buildings in his neighborhood. Yummy successfully evades capture on Tuesday, August 30th, but the blocks were hot, and getting hotter. After the announcement of a massive manhunt for an 11-year-old from Chicago in the national media on Wednesday, Kenny Stump, a Black Disciples leader, ordered Craig Hardaway to abduct Yummy and bring him underneath a viaduct for his execution. It is easy to imagine a scenario where Kenny Stump was with his young gunner when Yummy went drilling. Kenny then made the decision to kill Yummy to make sure the youngster didn't snitch on him. I encourage everyone to check out the full interview of the Hardaway brothers on DJU TV and see if you don't reach the same conclusion. This explanation makes a lot more sense than the bullshit we're about to hear from old, washed-up gang banger, Don Dirk.
The Black Disciples were a fairly low-key organization, meaning that they weren't in the media very much, they weren't doing interviews, they weren't on the front page of newspapers. But then all that changed in 1994 when Robert Sandifer, aka Yummy, ends up getting killed. Are you familiar with the situation?
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
Okay. So tell me the story that you're familiar with.
The story that I'm familiar with, that Yummy was put up to shooting at some of the gangsters. Yummy made a mistake and hit a certain leader, niece, killed her. The certain leader supposed to told the guy that either they took care of that or they were gonna come and they were gonna start killing all of them. And it was a hit ordered on them, which should have never happened. They should have went to war, you see, because what I didn't like, y'all put him up to go shoot at somebody. He do it and make a mistake, and then he lose his life doing what y'all asked him to do. They should have fought that war. That's what they should have did, you see, because if you put him up to do it, you should have stood by his side. That's what should have happened.
Old, washed-up gangbanger, Don Jerk, oops, I meant Don Dirk, doesn't know what should have happened because he doesn't know what actually happened. Dirk Acklin is a founding member of the Black Disciples, who lost the power struggle against Jerome, King Shorty Freeman, that arose after the death of the gang's first crowned king, King David Barksdale. According to a gang threat assessment by George Knox in 2008, Don Dirkie is a BD, and according to one informant, he's got his own crew. Don Durkee used to be a real character. He started an ugly riot in Division 1 at Cook County Jail. Don is a lot older than Shorty. Don Durkee started a chapter in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the early 1980s. Thus, the Don Durkee faction of the BDs appears to be a renegade faction within the BDs. However, there is no doubt about the fact that Shorty Freeman is the acknowledged leader of most factions of the BDs. It is obvious as well, from different sources, that there is a strained relationship between Shorty Freeman and Don Durkee. The best way to describe the renegade gang leader, Don Durkee, is that while the BDs have a kind of religious structure to their gang, Don Durkee's faction splintered off like a separate sect, using the same type of gang gospel, just on a smaller scale. After both were released from prison, Don Jerk, oops I did it again, I meant Don Dirk, lost the civil war within the BDs to Shorty Freeman, around 1983 or 84. Shorty Freeman went to prison in 1989. The minister, that King Shorty rose to the position of Bishop, Mickey Bull, who controlled the gang's operations on the city's south side from the low end, in the Bronzeville neighborhood, to the Wild Hundreds, and Robert, Yummy Sandifer's neighborhood in Roseland, was murdered by GDs in 1991. In 1994, shorties like Yummy, and young gang leaders like Kenny Stump, didn't know an old, washed-up gangbanger like Don Jerk, oops, I did it again, I meant Don Dirk. And he didn't know them, the Hardaway brothers, or what the fuck really happened to Yummy. Culture vulture DJ Vlad, let this clout-chasing old nigga spread a lie, like it was the truth. I guess I'm supposed to believe that Siobhan's uncle, a gangster disciple leader, had Kenny Stump's home phone number and called him because in 1994, gangbangers and drug dealers had pagers, not cell phones. I guess the conversation went like this. Hey nigga, your young nigga murdered my niece, it's war unless you kill him, but if you kill him we're cool. Does that make any sense? Of course not. Don Jerk is just an old washed-up gangbanger who ran a renegade faction of the BDs in Milwaukee during the 1980s and 90s. Speaking of Milwaukee, guess who had a concert scheduled on September 3, 1994, at the Mecca Arena in Milwaukee, which is an hour-and-a-half to 2-hour drive from Chicago, a couple of days after Yummy's murder.
I want to dedicate this one to Robert, Yummy Sandifer, all other young niggas that's in a rush to be gangsters.
Fans and witnesses at Tupac's concert that night included a professional photographer named Raymond Boyd, who was sitting front row. He was quoted in an article as saying, "The crowd of nearly 4,000 people included a lot of pumped-up gang members chanting Tupac's name and Thug Life." Tupac rushed the stage with the music to his song, Bury Me AG, bumping hard. Midway through the song, his mic started fading in and out. Once his mic was fixed, a visibly frustrated Tupac called on the crowd to respect a moment of silence for Siobhan Latrice Dean. Before the moment of silence even begins, Tupac screams, "Y'all better stop murdering those babies, or else I'll murder you myself." Tupac then calls them busters, cowards, and continues to threaten to murder them all, unless they stop killing babies. Gang members in the audience started throwing gang signs, coins, and other shit at the stage. Tupac then offered a $200 reward for anyone in the crowd who pointed out the offenders, and dared anyone to fight him. Tupac screamed, "I don't know who the fuck you think I am. You motherfuckers better stop throwing shit at me. You can flash them gang signs if you want, but I'll kill all you motherfuckers. This is Thug Life." The crowd rushed the stage. Tupac's cousin, William Lassane, pulls out 2 guns from a red gym bag in an attempt to hold off the crowd, until police rushed him, Tupac, and the rest of their entourage off stage, and into Tupac's dressing room.
I don't quite remember what Pop was doing, except for maybe throwing stuff back at him or trying to find a way. I remember what I was doing. Right. And what I was doing was, when I saw that they was coming at us, I pulled out my gun.
Good thing Tupac's cousin was smart enough to pass the red bag with the guns to a getaway driver to take away from the arena, because his dressing room door was kicked down by the police, and everyone was searched. Everyone with Tupac was released by the police because no weapons were found, but that's not the end of our story. Tupac and his homies make it to their hotel in Chicago safely, but let's listen to what another rap icon, Scarface, has to say about what happened next.
It was in Milwaukee one time, man. I got when I was a nigga in Milwaukee, and the niggas came to that hotel, and they told that motherfucker up. Damn shit. Did they do it up or they just? I don't know what they were doing down there. Pop wanted to go out there. I said, nigga, you better sit your motherfucking ass down right there. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like it. Nigga, he wanted to go out there. Nigga, we ain't gonna go out there. You better chill. The niggas down there shooting.